5 secret steps to keep yourself pandemic proof in the future.
Why isn't this worked? I'm in a deficit. Well, you're not. Basically, Karen, you're not.
You could potentially die at some point, which is not something as a coach that you want on your record.
Very low calorie diets are difficult to adhere to for long periods of time because of the society we live in.
Training takes priority and then diet supports the training needs.
That chocolate biscuit looks really appealing.
You don't know anyone who's accidentally starved themselves to death. You don't know anyone who that's happened to, right? But you probably do know people that have overeaten a bit and are carrying a few extra pounds.
I'm having that.
We've both absolutely butchered that, but...
Yeah, that we made a right hash of that.
Welcome to the Not Another Fitness podcast. See what I did there? That's the new intro. This is going to be this is like a little bonus edition, isn't it, Rambo? This is off the cuff. It's a Friday afternoon. We thought, let's jump on and answer a couple of questions.
Yeah, little bite-sized nuggets that you can have
Nice.
with a cup of tea.
Just like, do you remember GCSE bite size? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, I do.
I remember it as a concept, but not actually ever utilising it to study, unfortunately.
No, I remember having a lot of textbooks for my GCSEs. A lot of highlighting.
See, highlighting that's the best part of revision. Highlight that makes me feel like I've done some revision now. I'm sure it's gone in.
The best part of revision is stationery. Just have to buy new stationery just to do.
I'm going to spend the first half hour organising my desk and just coordinating everything. Oh, time for a cup of tea. I'm exhausted. Right, on the agenda today, so we've got a couple of questions we're going to tackle. The first one is regarding calories. I won't give it any more away than that. And the second one is, Amy, remind me.
We are going to do nutrition versus exercise, chicken versus the egg.
It's a good one. Nutrition versus exercise.
Where should you start?
Juicy. Let's go with the calories question first. And I suppose before we start with these, a massive thank you again to anyone who has sent questions and given us, we've got a load of feedback, didn't we, after the second pod?
Yeah.
Pretty positive as well.
Yeah, I think the best piece of feedback we got, wasn't it, was thank God you're not posh.
And I like the way you turned up the notch on your posh accent to deliver that, which is...
Not know what one means.
Yeah, that was amazing. There's one tick in the box. The podcast for the working man or woman.
Not gender specific.
No, obviously. Right, first question from Craig, who asks, it's a completely open-ended one this. Here's a question for you. Is there such thing as too little calories? Is there such a thing?
Wow.
I would say yes, there is, because if you went too low, then you could potentially die at some point, which is not something as a coach that you want on your record.
No. You don't want a death count. God.
No, only one fatality in 2020. It is slightly open-ended, but that's why I thought it was quite good, because when people ask that question, is there such thing as not eating enough? Generally what they mean is if I take the calories, so in terms of weight loss, this is referencing, if I take the calories too low, will that hinder progress? Will that stop fat loss? Because there's this perceived like starvation mode that will occur, and then my body will say, sorry, calories are too low, you're not eating enough, we're going to store all the fat and not release any. And even though I would say, so this is something we were talking about before we started recording, and there's like a common belief or something that I've heard a few times before in the gym, and it's, you'll be sat in a consultation and you maybe start with an initial bit of chat around, how's the diet? What do you think the issue might be? What do you want help with? And sometimes you'll get the response, oh, I think it's actually because I'm not eating enough. And that's generally not the case if it's a weight loss goal. But there is some logic to it, because but it's just not what people think. So if you take the calories chronically low, you will still be losing fat all the way through. But the issue tends to be, if you go too low with calories, you end up subconsciously, and without you kind of realizing it, snacking a little bit more and not quite being able to say no, or food starts looking a lot more tempting. And there might be some like water retention, and that masks the scales, and all these things kind of play into people thinking, oh, well, it must be because the calories are too low. That's why, you know, my body's holding on to fat. But eventually, like if I decided to eat 500 calories a day for a month, which is a chronically low calorie intake for me, there might be days where it even goes up in weight, but that trend is going to be going down, down, down at a rapid rate. And I'm going to feel terrible as well, only having that much.
There is that.
Thoughts, Amy?
I completely agree. Like, it's a fact of energy balance. If you eat less calories than you need to maintain your bodily functions, you will lose weight. The key thing when it comes to weight loss, in particular fat loss, I'm assuming that Craig is a already healthy weight individual and just wants to focus on losing fat. Bear in mind that we're not talking about like obesity here and people that need to lose weight for health reasons. If you are in a calorie deficit, you will continue to lose weight. The difficulty comes in staying adherent to those low calories. There are many, many studies that prove that low calorie diets do work over, you know, short periods of time. And it depends on how much time you've got as well to lose the fat. If you've only got 4 weeks and you're happy to take your calories pretty low, to, you know, and you're pretty sure you can adhere to that, then you will lose body fat, provided that you are keeping protein as high as possible to retain lean muscle mass, and you are drinking water, you know, all the other kind of things that are going to help you function as a human being for that short period of time. The key issue comes with, like you say, with the adherence, because very low calorie diets are difficult to adhere to for long periods of time because of the society we live in. Like, you know, in the caveman days, they had periods of like feasting where they ate whatever they killed.
Wild boar, I'm going to say.
And then they wouldn't actually eat for a few days at a time because they struggled to get the food again. But food wasn't as readily available as it is now. The fact is, we don't have those problems nowadays because of the society we live in. So if you're on, say, 1,000 calories a day, you will continue to lose weight. However, when losing weight gets a struggle, all of a sudden that chocolate biscuit looks really appealing, and you might just have an extra fork full of pasta, rice, or maybe I'll just have a little bit of that, and then you jump on the scales, and because you're in that calorie deficit and your body is under stress, because you're still trying to train and your body is under stress, because your body is like, what the hell are you doing to me, it tries to hold on to water in terms of like the stress you're placing on your body, and you're in the deficit. So then you jump on the scales and you think, oh my god, I've been eating 1,000 calories a day, yet I've put on weight. Well, fuck this, I'm just gonna go and eat a bar of Galaxy because it's obviously not working. I'm obviously not eating enough to lose weight. And like, people get in this real kind of hamster wheel of it. It's the adherence that makes low calorie diets difficult.
Yeah, I mean, spot on. Adherence is like number one, right? So when we write, whether we're writing like a sample food plan, whether we're giving dietary advice, whether we're constructing something from scratch, at the forefront of both of our minds is going to be, is this diet set up for this person to adhere to, you know, to at least like 80%, let's say. Yeah. Because otherwise, again, you can have the best diet on paper, but it means zero unless people can adhere to it. And I suppose just to wrap this question up, when people, you can have people that are in a deficit, right? And they've gone with that low calorie diet, or that quite a big deficit, quite an aggressive diet. And it might be for a short period of time. It might be for a longer period of time. If you're in a deficit and you see the scales go up, or if the scales isn't moving the way you want it to, if you're in a deficit, that's because of water retention through, like you said, you're under stress because of the diet. You're probably still training. You've got a job. Life stress gets in the way. So that's why it's not going down. Option 2 as to why that's not going down is that you're not in a deficit.
Yeah.
And that's the harder one for people to get their heads around, because there's this, and it's like we're all guilty of this. So it's not like, oh, I know because I'm a nutritionist and you just don't get it. No, like we all overconsume, or the vast majority of us are programmed to overconsume. Like, you don't know anyone who's accidentally starved themselves to death. You don't know anyone who that's happened to, right? But you probably do know people that have overeaten a bit and are carrying a few extra pounds.
Oh, completely.
Because our kind of homeostatic drives are set up like that. Avoid death, be a bit fat, it's fine. Don't worry about that, that's all right. And that's quite hard when people have convinced themselves that I am in a deficit, I am doing it, and they're just completely switched off and thinking, no, that's other people that get caught out like that. I'm definitely being honest. Well, then if you're genuine and you track calories and you know you're 100% only eating, let's call it 1,000 calories a day, and it's not going down, it is the amount of stress that you're putting on yourself thinking about it not going down, leading to the water retention, leading to the scales doing nothing. And maybe that means that you should go for a slightly less aggressive approach, which means you eat more. The ultimate results come a little bit slower, but that journey is a lot easier and a lot easier to adhere to. But yeah, that question, when I saw that, it's just one of those questions, like, that a lot of people have that thought process. And I don't even think Craig does think this. I think he just pitched this in precisely for this reason, to get a bit of discussion going, that people think that, oh, that's too low. And when we're talking about health, that is a slightly different conversation, like chronic low calorie dieting, where you're suddenly becoming nutrient deficient in a bunch of stuff. Yeah, that's an issue. That's do that for months and you're going to start running into health problems. But I think for the majority of people there, that's in reference to weight loss and fat loss and how you lose a few pounds. But thank you, Craig, because that's
It always brings me back to one of the first things they teach you when you talk about nutritional programming for fat loss is people lie.
Yeah. Sorry, everyone. We're all
the time.
I always reference this, but that program, Secret Eaters.
Yeah.
The thing with that is, because obviously to make a good, compelling TV program, they pick people that are really extreme. So you'll get some guy who's like, I don't know why I'm not losing weight. And then he goes and buys like 3 pizzas that night and a kebab. And, then they catch him out and all the cameras are there and stuff. And people laugh at those people and be like, look at these idiots. They don't know what they're doing. That's the extreme version. That's the, some guy who's overeating like a couple of 1,000 calories, 3,000 calories a day. The average person is only overeating by, I always use the Kit Kat example. So if you have an extra Kit Kat each day and it just bumps you over, that's about £1 a month.
Yeah.
Do that for a year. That's the best part of a stone. That's how weight goes on. People aren't binging every day. Weight it's sneaky, just creeps on. You get on the scales and you're like, oh shit.
Completely agree.
We're stone up.
It's like the easy, it's not an anecdote, but the easy relatable kind of story is the mums with the kids, and the kids leave the chips and the chicken nuggets, and there's just 1 or 2 chips on the plate, one little leftover smiley face. And if you're anything like me and you just hate wasting food, you're like, no, I'm having that. And that's just those little calories that add up over time that you think, oh, it's not worth tracking, or no, I haven't overeaten, or no, I didn't have a biscuit, or no, I'll just put a little bit of cream in with my coffee because that doesn't count.
Yeah.
It's the little things that add up that you think, why isn't this worked? I'm in a deficit. Well, you're not, basically, Karen. You're not.
think about, honestly, like a couple of chicken nuggets and literally like 5 chips probably 100 calories, maybe maybe a few more.
Yeah, that's 500 calories a week, Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
Add in the glass of wine that you have on a Saturday, or the glass of Prosecco, that obviously alcohol has absolutely no calories whatsoever. So I can just consume as much of that as I want. And it's just, I'm making out like I have a really poor view of people in society, but like, you know what I mean?
Because we're part of it.
Exactly.
Right. Like, so we haven't got children, but there's no way I'm walking past that chicken nugget and handful of chips.
God, no.
But I'm going to have to, for me, I'm going to have to just, if I am at the time counting calories, I'm going to have to account for that. And it's just being mindful of the fact that, okay, I did actually, I finished off the kids' dinner. I did have a bit more alcohol at the weekend. And it is just being honest with yourself and taking a little bit of, it's not about like shouting people down and being harsh, because like we've all been in that situation.
Yeah.
But I would rather be in a situation where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to have the cake, I'm going to have the extra bit of food and be happy being a few pounds above whatever weight and live with it, than in complete denial land and just like, oh, well, my body doesn't like me. Well, I've always carried it. Well, it's just to a point. Yeah.
It's that feeling of constant failure that people get themselves in because they convince themselves that they can't do it or it doesn't work for them. And it's like, well, just sit back and, be a little bit honest with yourself and assess things that, assess your habits, assess where everything's coming from, because these are the principles. And if you're doing them right, they do work. So.
Yeah.
And I think that's that one.
Boom, full stop on that one. Tick. Happy with that.
Next question.
Question number 2 comes from, is this David's question?
This is David's question. Oh, I love this.
Do you want to take this one away? Have you got
it? So this question, which should people focus on first? Nutrition or exercise? Chicken versus egg, which should come first? I'm going to start this off.
Go for it.
If you are completely new to your health, I'm going to say health journey.
Yeah.
So if you just want to make a change in terms of being a healthier person, as a PT and as a nutritionist, I actually don't care which one you do first. I would say you go with whichever one you can sustainably implement changes into your lifestyle, whether that be nutritional changes or whether that be an exercise regime that you can stick to consistently. Because what tends to happen is that one follows the other automatically. When you start to have health promoting behaviors in one area of your life, they automatically filter through to other areas of your life. So if you start with exercise and you're like, do you know what? I want to start lifting weights because I want to feel strong. You start doing it for a few weeks, you enjoy how it makes you feel, and you start thinking, oh, you know what, like I'm enjoying this. Maybe I'll see a bit better results if I've heard a lot about protein. Maybe I could eat a little bit more protein. And those behaviors filter through and you start to educate yourself, and then the nutrition will come after. On the flip side, if you're like, oh, I really want to start eating a bit healthier, so do you know what, I'm gonna stop having cream in my coffee and I'm gonna have black coffee, or I'm gonna have an apple every day, and that's something that I can actually do consistently within my lifestyle every single day, as I'm just gonna have an extra apple or an extra portion of vegetables with my dinner. And then you're like, oh, do you know what, I've got a bit more energy. Oh, I'm looking a bit less round in the middle and I feel fuller for longer. Okay, oh, well, maybe I could start a run once a week because, I feel like I've got a bit more energy, and it filters through to both sides. So personally, as a professional, whatever gets you started, I would say go with that, because I think the one area where people tend to shoot themselves in the foot, for want of a better analogy, is they try to do too much at once. They're like, right, it's Monday, so it's the perfect day to start a diet and an exercise plan, and I'm going to go running 3 times a week. I'm also going to prep 5 meals, 1,500 calories a day, And yeah, it's going to be great. And then a week in, they're like, crap, this is way too much of my already stressful lifestyle, the 3 kids and the household I've got to run, and now I've done none of it, and I'll start another diet and exercise program again next Monday. And it's that constant thing because they've just tried to do too much at once. So a lot of time I have clients come to me for nutrition, and I'll be like, right, let's look at your nutrition. Actually, it's not too bad, but let's get you training because you want to actually really increase that side, and that what can you commit to? So let's do the one thing that you think you can commit to and make a change to, and then we'll filter through. Yeah, don't try and do too much at once. What are your thoughts?
I like that. You've covered that well, as always. Leaving
with nothing again.
Leaving me with scraps.
Go learn to stop me.
No, you're good. You're good. Once you're rolling, and you could tell, like, obviously we had that question, that was from last week, wasn't it? So we both had a little bit of time to think about it, and that was a very considered answer. So yeah, hopefully David's got something from that. I suppose to weigh in where I stand with that, they're both important. Nutrition and training are both important. So I'm always slightly, and I always kind of say that initially because I don't want people to think, oh, well, I can just, as long as they eat okay, like training doesn't really matter, or vice versa. And you're right. As a coach, when you meet someone who's just on day one of the journey, it's, if you do one thing in either area, that's a positive, right? One habit change, maybe, it could literally be making sure that you eat a serving of vegetables every day. It could be something as simple as that. In terms of training, it might be, right, I'm going to book a PT in once a week, and I'm going to just, learn about my body and learn some of those movements. So that's kind of important to put out front. I suppose when you start working with people that maybe have come a step on from the beginning of the journey, and maybe they're 6 months down the line, and there's maybe they've started to think about, maybe they've done a couple of tweaks with the diet, and maybe they've started to get in some kind of regular activity and routine. To me, this is where it becomes more of something you need to consider, because definitely one of the main reasons I got into nutrition was because I would have 90% of clients as a PT that wanted fat loss and weight loss. And I didn't think that I was able to guarantee that with personal training alone. And not only that, I would say at my disposal then, which was just the training, I had the classic quote is, oh, nutrition's whatever. It's getting a 6-pack is 80% in the kitchen, or something of that ilk.
Yeah, like 80% of the diet is in the kitchen. Yeah, I remember those.
It's something like that, isn't it? We've both absolutely butchered that, but
we made a right hash of that.
The point remains, like, weight loss for me, if you said to me, and I'm going to talk in these kind of make-believe scenarios, but just to kind of hammer home the point, if you came to me tomorrow and said, right, Andy, I've got 4 weeks, I'm going on holiday. Well, I would be like, you're not, because we're on lockdown. But anyway, let's pretend we're not living in lockdown world. I've got 4 weeks for holiday, and my number one goal is I want to get leaner, or I want to lose body fat. That's priority number one. And you can only pick one area to focus on. You either train them harder, or you get the diet on point. You best believe that I'm picking diet in terms of eliciting weight loss and fat loss, because, again, another popular phrase, you can't out-train a bad diet. I'd slightly tweak that. You can out-train a bad diet if you train like a complete maniac and you've got no full-time job or anything, and you can just plow through.
And you've got good genetics.
If you said to me, right, actually, I don't want to lose fat now, forget that, I can't go on holiday because coronavirus and all that stuff, I'm going to change it. I want to run a sub 25-minute park run. Oh, I can't do park run because that's not at the moment. Fucking hell, give me a better scenario. I want to run a sub 25-minute 5K. And again, I've got 1 month to train, and I can only pick diet or training to focus on. You're going to be running. Yeah. I'm going to be like, forget the diet, don't worry about that. We're going to focus on the training. So for me, as a broad sweeping statement, if it's a performance-based goal, training takes priority, and then diet supports the training needs. Especially if it's a weight loss goal or reducing body fat goal, you set the diet up first. So your number one priority is hitting that diet. And if that means reducing training volume, or if that means tweaking how many days a week you train, then so be it. Yeah. And that's just that's simplistic, but for most people, that would be my kind of bang for buck advice.
And I would second that with, if it was for health, again, day one, brand new newbie, I just want to be healthier. I would, again, maybe focus on nutrition as a start.
Yeah, maybe.
Just because of the impact that actually eating whole foods has on your body as a unit, as, you know, like as your vessel, you know, like taking in good quality foods that have added benefits in terms of minerals and vitamins, and that would be where I would, well, actually, no, probably for health, the first thing I would focus on is, are you drinking enough water and are you getting enough sleep?
Yeah.
But after that, I would probably say nutrition, because when you feel the energy benefits from actually getting your nutrition right, then that filters through to the exercise. But I completely agree in terms of like, what is the goal? What do you want to achieve? And then, yeah, thankfully, health promoting behaviors kind of fuel more health promoting behaviors, because you generally want to be a healthier individual in all areas of your life.
They do go hand in hand, but I understand the question, and I understand why people say, oh, what would you do? And a lot of the time in consultations, when people come into the gym and they're really like amped up to train, and they're like, yeah, I want to train, I want to get into it. You know, maybe they've been in the gym for a while, or they love training and they're in, and I'll ask, oh, cool, what's the goal? And they're like, oh, well, I want to get a bit leaner. And I'm like, it's almost like you have to sit them down and be like, okay, great with the enthusiasm for the training. We're definitely going to build on that and what you're doing already. You have to look at the diet.
Yeah.
Because we cannot be sat here. We could be sat there in like 6 weeks' time and not having lost body fat, but you just want to let that person know what they're in for. And actually, like, if you don't, you could smash the training and you might not achieve any fat loss whatsoever.
Yeah.
And something that you said, which I thought was bang on the money, and something that is a trap that a lot of people fall into, and it is that all or nothing approach at the start of a diet. So, you know, the diet starts Monday, and that's funny, but it's also true. It's true. And not only does the diet start Monday, but the Tupperware starts Monday, and the rigorous cardio regime starts Monday, and the only buying organic food from the farmer's market starts Monday, and all this stuff happens on a Monday, and it's like literally like throwing the kitchen sink at it. And to be fair to people that do that, for a small percentage of people that works. So you'll have met people like that maybe off the back of like a life-changing incident or a moment of inspiration, they just do it, and it's like someone's flipped a switch and they're just full steam ahead. And when you see transformations like that, that's really seductive, and it's like, oh my God, look at what they are able to do. In the real world, as boring as it may seem or sound, picking one thing like like when you said like the drink the water and get better sleep, when you say that in a consultation, you can almost see people just be like,
oh God,
glazing, like, oh, get more sleep.
This guy.
Eat some vegetables. Yeah, tell me something I don't know. And you're like, no, I know. That's the messed up thing. All those simple things: get more sleep or get quality sleep, drink water, walk to the shops, take the stairs instead of the escalator, eat your fruit and veg, get a bit more lean protein in there. All that stuff. If you did it all, you'd be in an amazing place from a health point of view. And if that was like your base level, then it's just a case of, oh, I want to lose a bit of weight, I'm just going to tweak calories. Oh, I want to focus on my running, I'm actually going to need some more calories, I'm going to tweak my training plan. And then it's just a series of tweaking depending on where you're at, you know, that time of the year or whatever. But yeah, the all or nothing approach is a seductive one, but it often leads to disappointment ultimately, or like you said, the hamster wheel of, back on we go. It's Monday again. We know what happens here. The new routine.
You know, like, I don't want to keep going on about all of this for too much. So I think we've covered it pretty well. But all of those things, you know, like trying to be a healthier person with your nutrition, trying to exercise more, trying to sleep more when you maybe don't have time, or you've got a new baby, or trying to juggle that with your career and trying to prep 7 meals for the week, that is all a stress. And when you're putting your body under that much stress, even through those health promoting behaviors, the chances are that you're actually not going to make progress. So that's why implementing the small things little by little in the areas that you identify with a coach are sustainable, you are gearing yourself up so much more for progression than just trying to change everything at once.
100% agree with you there, Rambo.
You're very welcome.
On the money. I think we've answered them fairly thoroughly.
Yeah, I would agree.
So happy with that. One thing before we go that I would like to say, and it's just a caveat. I was thinking that when we're talking about the all or nothing, and just the amount of things that you can tweak, sleep, water, diet, training, all of this has to be caveated. And we have mentioned this before with the fact that we're in the middle of a global pandemic. So I always think that when we're giving out this advice, and we talked a little bit before we started recording about bit preachy, or people being a bit too preachy, and hopefully we don't come across like that. But all this advice and opinions are caveated with the fact that at the moment, if you are looking to make a change, I mean, fair play if you are looking to make a change during this period of time. But if you don't feel, if there's just other things on your mind, work stress, family, kids off school, health, all these other things that are going on, if you're like, do you know what, for the time being, with all the best will in the world, you might want to start an exercise regime, but maybe that's going to be put on the back burner for the time being. That's fine. Like, there's no you must do. What we're talking about, hopefully, with these kind of topics, are longer term things. It's not like 6 week shred or take our juice for a month. It's just things that should always be, like they're like the bedrock, right? And they might slip from time to time, but if and when you feel like you've got the time and the inclination, and you want to start thinking about it, then I think these are some of the things that can really help.
Definitely. And I think we both come from a place where we just want to make people healthier, and that doesn't mean thinner or leaner or more muscly. That means healthier, as in, and like we talked about in one of the previous episodes, like health and everything it encompasses. And then once you are at that place, then you can change your goals accordingly. Sometimes people have things they want to achieve, and some of the clients I work with, they actually don't have goals at the moment, and that is okay as well, because maintaining your health for the next pandemic is just as good a goal as it is to try and lose a stone for your holiday that probably won't be happening until next year.
I'm amazed, actually. Like, I know we're not going to do any like official rants today, but like, you'll see after there'll be like the post-pandemic plan program. Sign up to my health boosting 5 secret steps to keep yourself pandemic proof in the future.
I'm so excited about all the plans we have to come in the future. Are you not?
Yeah, we're really, like, after that first wave of shit that came on social media, it's really kind of like dulled down a bit now. Yeah,
I mean, Adele gave us a lot, to be fair. Like, thanks to Adele. She did.
Cheers, Adele, for episode 2. That was good.
I did a quiz yesterday, actually, as a little side note before we finished. And the first question was, what is Adele's surname? And I was like...
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Oh!
I couldn't...
I've done so much research on Adele, and I didn't know her surname.
That's when you know you've made it, though, where you don't need a surname. Yeah. I'm just Adele. Everyone knows who I am. I'm Adele. There's only one Adele.
Maybe one day we'll just be known as Amy and Andy.
Oh, I mean, I think, yeah... Let's see. Maybe podcast 4 or 5. We'll get there.
On that note.
Cool. It's been a pleasure, as always.
As always.
If anyone has any questions that they would like to ask myself or Amy, please stick them in the comments box below, or ping them on Facebook. All the links will be down below anyway, so get yourselves on there. But yeah, that's us.
That's us.
Take it easy. Catch up soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.